My dumb self wasn't paying attention when I ordered. I'm past the time frame that I can return them, unfortunately, so we might have to get creative and do some modification. What's up, everybody? I'm Kyle and welcome to the LRT Outpost. Now, if you're new to the channel, I basically just have a bunch of toys and projects and y'all just get to hang out in the shop with me and see what I'm doing for the day. Lately, we have been working on our ProXp build here. We got a ride coming up to go to Hatfield McCoy Trails in West Virginia in a couple of months. So I've been trying to get these units ready to go. In my last video, I've added some accessories, rear windshield, just some little odd and end things that I had laying around, and also a little bit of protection for me inside the cab and the unit itself. One of the things I did get some aluminum inner fender, almost like a fender well basically, but it's aluminum from DRT Motorsports. They're really nice. They slide in behind the factory fender flare underneath. I'll do a tag to that video if you want to go check that out where I put all that in. I wanted those aluminum inner fender liners just because there's nothing but plastic there. Just for some added protection, just to make me feel better. You know, probably fine, but you know. And I wanted to get something very similar for the front. My options were kind of limited, and in my back and forth of looking them up and trying to figure out what I could do, I may or may not have ordered a part that doesn't fit and can't take it back. So I'd actually already filmed this part. We're going to cut to that, show you what I did, and then we'll come back. Just like the rear, all you got is plastic here. I mean, you can't really even call it like a firewall. It's just plastic. And there's been like horror stories online of somebody juicing it through the woods and caught like a log or something just right, or going through like a mud hole and didn't see it or something, and it kicked up just right and it stabs right through that plastic, and it's like hit people in their legs, and like it's really messing people up. And not just razors, like any side-by-side like that.
Hey, it opened my coat. Is there a hole? You're not leaking. Holy crap, wow.
The stick came up straight through the firewall.
It just bounced up or off the side of the tree?
It came right through. I didn't even have a second to think about it.
Ugh, like, that's just nightmare situation. So I would feel a lot better, again, having some kind of metal barrier there. And these are Assault Industries, but my dumb self wasn't paying attention when I ordered, and those are for a 25 and up ProXp, and there was some changes to the body style in 2025. I really wanted to get those just because, one, they look cool, and two, actual protection. I'm past the time frame that I can return them, unfortunately, so we might have to get creative and do some modification. So we're gonna pull off the Mudbuster flares and just see what I can kind of figure out. I kind of held them up there earlier and they kind of sort of look like they still kind of line up, but I don't know. So let's see what happens. All right, I got everything out of the way. And I think, because it looks like those holes still line up. That hole still kind of lines up there, and that hole still lines up there from what I can eyeball and tell. The problem is this little piece that curves out. So what I'm thinking is just take my cutting wheel and just cut right down this bend here, straight down it, and I think that will work. I should still be able to do my mud busters over top of them because you can see my dirt outline here, so it should be somewhere in this area. And also, I think what I'm going to do, just because I like them, I think they look cool, the little aftermarket assassin logo, I think I'm going to drill out those rivets and maybe relocate it somewhere. I think it'll look pretty nice. Pretty sure that's going to work out, but let's get to cutting and see. We got one cut and mocked up. And once you know it, it fits. And I did mock up the Mudbuster flare, and it does fit nicely right over top of it. Really happy with that. So not a total waste of money. I hate that I had to cut up something brand new, but you know, is what it is. So let's cut the other side and get everything all bolted in. Okay, so we're going to do a small modification to the Mudbuster flares on the front. They had a little bit of an overhang, like underneath here. It would drop down some, and I didn't like that. I don't like that look. I like a nice clean underbelly look. I don't like anything hanging down really, and plus that could get hung up on something and possibly, you know, like rip the fender out. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. Made me a line on both of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, smooth that out, and get everything bolted in and see how it turns out. Okay, we are back in the shop. We got everything cut and ready, and it turned out pretty good, I think. So we got to get them bolted in. There's these rivets we got to drill out from the other side, and fingers crossed, it looks like everything's going to line up pretty good. So we'll see what happens. So the modifications I made to those inner fender liners in the front worked out really, really well. I'm really excited how it turned out. I actually ended up putting the Mudbuster behind it because I feel like it fit a little bit better. I do have a little bit of gap right here, not a big deal. If mud and stuff gets in there, I can just rinse that out because it is all the way to the bottom. So it should wash out. I'm sure some will get packed in there, but it's pretty easy to remove if I have to clean out behind it. But I just think that looked better than putting this over top, and I still had this gap regardless. Like, this gap isn't any bigger being over top of the Mudbuster as it was the other way around. So I did mock it up both ways just to see which one I like the best, and honestly I just think this looks better. My Assault Industries emblem relocation worked out really well. Looks very cool from the front when you see it on the driver's side. So overall, I'm very, very happy with it. I thought about maybe hitting this with some paint, but since this is aluminum, it kind of blends in and matches. So I just kind of left it. It's not really a big deal. I think I may go back and just hit it with my Dremel just to knock the paint off up to here. Like, so it's a little bit more even, just to knock the paint off. But honestly, yeah, I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll just kind of take my Dremel and just knock the paint off all the way up to this little notch right here. And honestly, I think that bare edge just kind of blends in with that other bare aluminum there. So that's awesome. That looks cool, and I don't have to paint, so that's always a plus. Now, the problem, I like my rear windshield. I do. It did cut down on some of the vortex. I explained in the last video, like when you drive, it's almost like the air gets churned up from your feet, and it just kind of, it's the only way I know how to describe it. It's like it just kind of cycles the air inside the cab. And it pulls all the dust and grass that's in the floorboards, like just up in your face. Like the cup holders get full of grass. Like look at this. Now my track, you know, is a lot of grass. I'm still building it, so you know I'm doing a lot of working in. We're putting in laps now to try to lay the track out, so we're kicking up a lot of grass and stuff. So I mean I get it. This is a little bit of a different circumstance, but still, just so you can kind of get an idea. I mean, look at all this. This was completely empty, like little center console, cup holders, passenger floorboard, like all that was clean before I started doing some laps. And it doesn't take but 4 or 5 laps and it looks like that. It was even worse without the rear windshield. So the rear windshield did make a bit of a difference. I think it made a positive difference. I think one of my other problems is you got a big gap here and you got gaps here too. So I think the still air is kind of slipping in and creating that kind of updraft from the floor, I guess is the best way to explain that. So I'm going to make some modifications to the doors to see if maybe I can cut down on some of that. I think I'm going to try to find a way to maybe modify the doors. I know companies make like a lower valance for that little open section underneath it for the factory doors. I don't want to spend a ton of money because I do want to do aftermarket full metal door skins eventually. But maybe I can come up with something that's not too crazy expensive that I can just use for now just to help with that issue. But that'll be something we'll figure out down the road. So if you want to follow along with this build, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe for me. I appreciate you. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, by the way. We did get accepted to the YouTube partnership program. So thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. If you haven't hit the subscribe, go ahead and do me a favor, hit that button for me. We're on the road to 1,000, and once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I think we're going to do our first giveaway. Probably like some kind of swag bag or something like that. I may buy like some recovery gear, like a Yankum rope or something kind of along those lines. I'm kind of like spitballing some ideas right now. Also trying to figure out, me and my wife were talking this morning about maybe some merch for the channel potentially. We got some ideas for that, trying to look into what our options are. So that would be kind of cool. So I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I'm going to try to work in some ways to show my appreciation back and try to do some cool stuff for you guys. I'm trying to get in a regular rhythm of posting. I'm usually shooting for Sundays, Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast. So I'm trying to post every Sunday, but I'm kind of doing an alternating schedule. I'm doing a full-length video, and then the next Sunday will probably be like a short or something. I'm just kind of sprinkling those in there just to keep the YouTube algorithm happy. But right now, that's just all I can find the time to do. Is just, it takes me a couple of weekends to finish a project for me to edit and then post. So I'm hoping to kind of improve on that as I go along, as well as all the other stuff I'm trying to get done around this madhouse. So again, just thank y'all for watching, and I'm real excited to see where this goes. That's enough of my shameless plug. So back on track for the project for today. So like the rear windshield, the problem is because this seal at the bottom here, I can no longer put in my lock and ride storage box. It just mushes, and so I can force it, but it then starts to peel this seal off. You can kind of see where it's kind of bowed out. So that side's not really like that. You can tell this side is a lot tighter fitting than this on this speaker. So I think what I'm gonna do is loosen all this up, peel this seal back again, and I'm gonna take my Dremel and I'm gonna try to shave some of that windshield down a little bit and see if I can get enough room to where we can get our little China Special lock and rod box back in there. I really like having this, and for you people that are probably like, well, why don't you just put it towards the back here, like in this area. One, that's where my cooler goes, and I don't want to reach over top of it to get to my cooler. And two, this specifically is stepped for this step up here. So it's made to specifically go in this position, which is what I wanted anyways. But I can't really shave anything off the back of the box. Me and my buddy Taylor were out here with a couple of trail sodas, kind of spitballing some ideas. And because the hinges are where they are at, even if I was to shave some off, it really wouldn't make much of a difference because the hinges, I can't really shave anything off the hinges themselves. So that's not really gonna work. So I'm gonna loosen this up, bust out the Dremel, and see what we can do. Maybe I should be real gentle with the grinder first, take most of the big stuff, and then clean it up with the Dremel. Let's try that. Anybody want to take bets if we got it first try or not? Let's find out. Oh, come here. Fingers crossed. Well, daggone. That worked out really well. The seal's not peeled back like it was doing earlier. Real happy with that. Let's make sure we can open everything. Oh, yeah, buddy. That works out real good. So we got some storage for stuff. Our Yeti fits right nicely in here. So all we gotta do is get the rest of the straps tightened down, get our roof bolted back down, and spray this thing down. I mean, good gracious. Anybody want to go skiing? Whew. Probably should have taken the seats out when I did that, but oh well. I'm real happy with how the Pro's turning out. Now, a few videos ago, I had done a video on the clutches in these things. They're kind of known to, you know, explode, literally. Not good. So I replaced the clutch and everything. So I was getting like almost like a squealing type noise. And everything I looked down online and knowing that they have issues with the clutches and stuff already from the factory, that was my first stop. Now, I've got the clutch dialed in. I got it all, the belt alignment all adjusted. I've run it a few times, got all that nice and dialed in. If you want to go look at a video on how to do that, I'll put a tag to it for you. But I'm still getting that annoying noise. So the other night, I just got real frustrated. I was on the track, just busting out a late night drift sesh, and I was just trying to get the noise to happen. But what I figured out, it only does it taking a turn under throttle. So I'm thinking it might be a wheel bearing issue. There is a bit of a problem with the wheel bearings on these. I think it was the 2020s. I need to go back and look, do a little research, do a little homework. But I think there was an issue with like the bearings were just slightly too small, or the knuckle was just slightly too large, or so, there was something weird like that going on. And actually the wheel bearing would, like, instead of the bearing spinning, it would actually spin inside the knuckle, which you don't want. And that could definitely cause like a metal squealing type sound. So that's going to be my next stop. I've eliminated the clutch issue. Not a big deal. We were going to replace the clutch anyways. So I'm real happy with the mother clutcher setup that we got. So our next step is I'm just going to go ahead and change out all the wheel bearings. None of them have really any play in them, but they could be like dry, no grease or something like that. Or like I said, one of them is just free spinning inside the knuckle instead of the bearing just spinning. So I'm going to look into that, do a little bit of homework. I want to make some modifications to the doors. And I think we're going to play around with this decal setup a little bit. It's a little too much for my taste. But all of that will be a project for another day. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch any of my videos. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe for me, and I'm going to catch you in the next one.